What is Sou Sou? Can you grow wealthy or get rich from doing Sou Sou? Is it a pyramid scheme? Is it a get rich quick scam? All the questions, all the feels. It's growing mainstream right now, but it's something that people have been doing in Caribbean and African communities for centuries. That is what we're talking about today. We have a crazy special guest. His name is Paul Wood. He created an app that makes Sou Sou easier. This is Stuck in Middle Podcast, a platform for entrepreneurs, innovators, creators of African descent, where we discuss ideas, experiences, and advice on how we can break the mold, how we can move the culture forward. I'm Reflex, I'm your host. Hit that subscribe button and hit the ringer. Hit the thumbs up on this video if you like it, and let's get into the video. Let's do it. So what, like, the word is going up in flames about Sou Sou right now. You know, where I'm from Cameroon. We call it Njangi. You from Ghana?
Yep.
Y'all call it Sou Sou.
Yep.
What is Sou Sou?
So, Sou Sou has been around for, years now. I remember back in Africa, my mom used to be a part of the Sou Sou. And the concept is simple. Basically, so people within your tight-knit community come together and decide, maybe I have a goal, somebody else have a goal, but they want to save money, right? And let's say they need our money, perhaps to invest in whatever their desires are. Sou Sou makes it easy for these groups to actually get together and basically, let's say the group gets together and decide, okay, each person want to contribute $500, right, on a weekly cadence, and that $500 will be then 500 collected from everyone within the group will be given to one person, and then the next month or the next week, that money will be given to a second person. That is the concept. The idea is that you get cash on hand to do whatever you want to do, like a loan, but then you eventually pay it little by little until you pay up with zero interest, right? It's the same concept like going to a bank, borrowing $5,000, but then with a 2% interest. The difference between that and Sou Sou is Sou Sou comes with no interest. Everybody within the group get paid weekly by weekly until until the group actually finishes, like the end of the cycle finishes. So that's the concept. The advantage here is there's no interest rate when you indulge in Sou Sou groups. The second thing is
interest rate is saving or quote unquote lending,
basically, right? So savings in terms of like traditionally you will get interest rate if you went to a bank,
right?
Within the Sou Sou there is none of that, right? There's no interest rate whatsoever. You're straight up getting that cash to do whatever you need to do right now,
right?
And then eventually paying that money, that $100, whatever the cadence is, every single month until you get up to the point where everybody in the groups get paid.
What does Sou Sou mean? Because like I said, where I'm from, we call it Njangi. I don't know what Njangi means. Maybe AK can help me. But Sou Sou, it's like going crazy right now. It's becoming viral.
Yep.
But in the Caribbean communities and African communities, they've been doing this for centuries. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to go all the way up. Probably even venture back to 19th, 20th centuries. What does Sou Sou mean?
Sou Sou in my language actually means save. So save without the traditional banking style, right?
So why you think our, ancestors, our grandparents and parents wanted to veer away from the banking? I wouldn't say veer. They just didn't have access to banks. Why do you think? How do you think that came about?
So I think they had a bigger goal in terms of like collectively we can do so much, but individually, it's more of a broken society. So, and back then too, they had a lot of tight-knit community where people were always together, right, in terms of family. So I think that building block helped them to quickly get to their goals faster, as opposed to you saving $5,000, for example.
Right.
You can actually easily get it from a group and be able to invest it quickly and then slowly pay that money down without interest. So those type of things, I think, and then there's no banks available at that time as well, right? So they had to find a way to save money, let's say towards a goal for the community or towards something that be some personal goals that they all had.
You from Ghana?
Yes.
Were you born?
I was born, actually, interesting. I was born in Liberia, but my parents were from Ghana. So
I hear a lot of that. A lot of Ghanaians born in Liberia. Ooh, what's that?
So
I don't know if any Ghanaian war where people might have migrated.
no, I think it's more of migration for better opportunities and work. My dad was a teacher.
It's interesting because Ghana is popping now. People is going to Ghana.
It is. Ghana has a lot of most of our workforce. I think a big chunk of our workforce is in the tertiary institution. So. Those times, those years, people were migrating to different countries, Sierra Leone, Liberia, to teach,
right.
And that's where my dad sort of ended it.
How many siblings do you have?
I have about 7 siblings, including myself.
Hi.
So
where do you fall in the rank?
The last one. Yeah.
Dang. Everybody, that's 7. That's deep. I mean, that's normal for us. You know what I'm saying? The larger, the better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Our parents are busy. When did you move here, the United States?
So I've been here since 2005. I came here, I was like 17, turned on 18. Did some high school here, some college. Yeah.
So you actually, one of the reasons why we're talking right now, you have an app that you're developing that makes Sou Sou. We're gonna get into it, Sou Sou easy, but I want to get to know Paul, the person. In terms of like what do you do right now?
So currently, I'm into software quality assurance or quality assurance in general. My role is basically working with developers to develop maybe an app. It could be a website. It could be a desktop application. And basically, whenever these developers are done with the code, somebody have to test it, right? So I write what we call automation script using Python and also Java. To basically script the whole application and make sure that you are testing it in terms of like checking all the different permutations that the application is supposed to do. And out of that, I file what we call defects. And then this defect get resolved by the developers. And at the end of the day, they basically help. We all combine together and just push the application into production.
AK shaking his head. You just touched the nerve. AK, he excited. It's like, yeah, sounds juicy. How did you get into that, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, now you're using it to benefit the community.
It's interesting. I actually graduated with a degree in aviation science.
Hi. Got out man sense.
And I was trying to find work within that field, man. At the time, I wasn't a citizen, and I was trying to work with the FAA, so it was really tough to get in. And then one time I was just browsing online. I saw somebody teaching a class for $500. I was like, yo, this sounds interesting. So I invested in that joint. And I always say that, my $45,000 loan didn't get me where I need to get. $500 did get me where I need to get. So it's one of those things. I took the class. I applied for a job. They gave me a shot as a junior, and I got in and learned it. Traveled all over the place, Ohio, I've been to Boston. I was in Boston for a while, and then I moved back home. Yeah.
Invest in yourself, man. My $500 loan didn't do what my $45,000 loan didn't do what my $500 investment has done for me.
Exactly.
Dang. I dig it, man. Yeah. Listen, when it comes to Sou Sou, like I said, I'm 28 years old. I just started doing Njangi.
Okay.
The last, I want to say 3 years, my mom and dad my family has been doing it for years and years and years and years. And, this is kind of like TMI, but we're doing it as a family with my siblings to fund the renovation of our family house back in Cameroon. You know what I'm saying? And also just like family emergency. Yeah. Somebody has a big emergency,
Yep.
We got that, in the back. Right now it's going up in flames, branching into the mainstream, and people are skeptical. It's like, yo, this sounds like a scam. You know what I mean? Like, what are some misconceptions about Sou Sou that you've heard that, like that it's not true about what the concept really is?
So one is, like you said, people think it's a scam. My dad was actually, my dad was actually involved in one where the guy eventually took the money and ran away with it. Right? They never saw him again. So that's one. And then I think just the trust. There's no trust in saving money, without a banking system. People think maybe, what if, I lose my money in the end? I don't, that sort of thing. And that's why our platform is sort of different. It's a different concept.
Yeah. So when it comes to a pyramid scheme, right? It's like, okay, give me $100 and, I give you back $800, where it's like the person in the pyramid scheme, somebody's getting, but it's the person at the top who's really getting all the money. And then, the 4 people, you got to bring people in, you might get 400. And the more it goes down, the person gets 200. And then the last person don't get nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you hear the term "give me 100 and get 800 back," immediately I think pyramid scheme. But with Sou Sou is you get what you put in,
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Exactly.
So would you say that's the difference?
Yes, that's the main difference. I think there are some great concepts also going on around regarding Sou Sou that are more of the pyramid style. That also, they're working, because I think a friend of mine introduced me to one. I just wasn't interested, but they are legitimate ones. But the concept of Sou Sou itself and what we support is completely, get what you put in.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So let's go back to this app that you're creating. Let's talk the app, man. First, the name Esorr. Is that how you pronounce it?
It pronounced it Esorr.
Esorr.
Esorr. Yeah. So the name came from one of our tribes in Ghana. It's an Ewe tribe. Originally, they actually migrated from Togo and settled in some part of Ghana. And that's how they call it, right? So when we're looking for the app name, realize, we saw some apps in the app store where they said Sou Sou. It wasn't exactly the same concept, as like the name was used for something else. So we decided to go that route of using that traditional Ewe, Sou Sou name, and eventually maybe append the Sou Sou to it, so that when people are searching for the product, they'll be able to find it. So that's what drives the name. So it's a typical Ghanaian Ewe name for Sou Sou generally.
Yeah. It's spelled $E$SOR. Where is it right now in stage of development or production or?
Sure. So we actually just launched the Android version. iOS is in progress. They're a little bit stricter in terms of like getting your app in, so you have to review it and go through all kinds of loops. So as a result, we sort of like waiting on them to approve it so that we can launch the iOS version of it. But Android is an app store, the Play Store. Sorry, people can download and try it out and check it out.
How does it work? How does the Esorr app, made for Sou Sou work?
Sure. So it's as simple as any registration. So whenever you download the app on your device, the next phase is basically to enter your, we take things like your first name, last name, your email, and then your phone number. And then after the registration process, you can either create your own Sou Sou group, or you can join an existing Sou Sou group. If you create a new Sou Sou group, you automatically get a code, right? That code is just like a PIN number where you can share with your close niched
people you want to bring in your group.
Exactly. And then you can either send it by text message or by email or whatever it is. That we have all that option available, and then they can use that to basically join that group, right? But prior to creating a group, there are certain steps that you have to take as an admin. You determine the name of the group. You also determine things like the cadence, like is it going to be weekly, is it going to be monthly, that sort of thing. And then the amount, how much would each person contribute? Right? You don't need to specify all these things. It's a requirement to create a group. And then after you've created that, then you can allow people to join the group. You set a start date that the Sou Sou will be starting. And then once that date hit, it's just a matter of just basically people paying their contribution, and then you marking them as contributed into the group, and everybody gets notifications, text notifications, also email notifications about their contribution as well as their payout. Whoever gets payout that week will get the entire group will get a notification that this individual got paid out, and then the next person will be XX person on this set date.
So, man, this is dope, because it's exactly the concept, so Jangi, and like what our parents have traditionally been doing. Like I said, my pops have been doing this for years, where it's like, and it's the same group they've been doing this for, I want to say 20 years, bro. It's like bi-weekly, every paycheck, $400 or $200. And two people pick. The people who put in 400 bi-weekly paycheck, they get, I don't want to say the number, but they get a higher amount than the people who put $200. So you can join. We can have one name. Say, I can only afford $200 my paycheck. You can afford. So we both play the 400, and then when we pick the big joint, we split it in half. Or somebody's like, I can only afford 200, and I just want to have one name, and they take the lower half of that. And there is penalties if you don't contribute on time. Sunday by 5 p.m. everybody's money is, and it's of course strictly cash. Which brings me to my next question. By default, the app is attached to the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is, I'm saying this on the record because it's a thing. Like, our parents go the traditional route of cash only because IRS and tax. Where's this money large amounts of money, you know what I'm saying, going in and out of bank accounts coming from, you know what I mean? Is it money laundering and things like that? So have you thought about that? What are some of the things that y'all implementing to make sure, like, you know, IRS don't get behind on taxing and things like that?
That concept has definitely been thought of, but our current process, you have two options, right? So the option of, you know, maybe using the banking system. So we plan on actually, which is our next phase, integrate Zelle. I don't know if you're familiar with Zelle.
Yes, yes.
So Zelle will be integrated within the app to allow you to basically transfer money straight from your bank account into an admin setup account that at the end of the day, the admin can just press pay and then, you know, be able to select one of the members who also have a Zelle account and definitely send the money within that. There's that concept. And if you straightly want to just keep it traditional, just like you've been doing it, whoever keeps the money, we have that for you as well. So that would be more on a manual, you know, click on the person and then pay them. Everybody will get a notification. There's payment history being generated. Everybody will be aware. But then the money is kept within maybe the traditional way that you guys are doing it now. It could be one person's account, that sort of thing. So
is the idea of, you know, probably registering as a 501(c)(3) that way, you know what I'm saying, like this, you know, tax regulation and things like that being thought?
Absolutely. That's also in the pipeline. It's one of those areas that it's a gray area, and it's it involves a lot more research and accountants coming in and stuff like that. So we are also trying to implement that process as well, just in case, you know, for individuals who do it cash, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Right. But individuals that will go the banking route is much more of a trail that definitely need taxation.
Yeah, because right now, you know what I'm saying, I've seen it, you know what I'm saying, the treasurer or the accountant, I've seen the books, you know what I'm saying, like drawing lines with, you know, with rulers and, you know, everybody's name, week one, when it comes to, you know, we branching into technology with this Esorr app, you know, and our parents, like I said, this is something they've been doing for centuries, man. People's weddings have been paid through Susu.
Oh, of course.
People's cars have been paid through Susu.
Of course.
People have come to the United States
through
through
franchises, through McDonald's franchises, through
exactly. You know what I mean? Like,
it's huge.
Yeah, like, you know, paying for visas and things through Susu. It's like, yo, I got this big project, and it's working. Yeah, it's working.
It is.
But our parents, the more they age, even though, you know, they have your WhatsApp now, they're still. This is no shade. Love them. It's not very technology savvy. Yeah. So, is this catered to them as well?
Absolutely.
Only our demographic and, you know, demographic coming after us.
Everyone. But my fear is maybe unless you don't use an email, right? So anyone who uses an email and has a phone number can definitely. It's so straightforward. It's, you know, it mimics the same thing. You join a group just like you join a Susu group. But one aspect of it I didn't actually mention. We before, of course, you install the app. You have. To accept the rules and regulations of the app, but then the group you create yourself, you can have your own group policy, right, embedded inside the app as well. So if your policy is the late fees and all those things you were talking about earlier, you could put that up within the app as well, where everybody will have to accept, right, those type of policies. And I think, you know, just to go back to your question again, it's catered for everybody. You know, so long as you use an email, you've used an email before, it should be a straight, you know, easy sign up process for you.
Talk to me about, you know what I'm saying, like some cool Susu story. Are you in one right now?
I'm in one right now.
There's people in multiple joints.
I'm in one right now in Columbus, Ohio. Some folks I met when I was living there. It's about 45 people. Contribution is $100 a week. Each person takes home about $4,000. So that's the next phase.
How often?
It's weekly. It's weekly. Every week somebody's getting paid $4,000. Yeah.
My man. Yeah. So it's not one person, but multiple people. $4,000.
More. It's 45. We initially did it. I think we're like 35. Yeah, I think we're like, was it 20? Each person was taking home at least $2,000 a week, right? So now additional people came in with about 45, so we have to adjust that, and each person will at least get $4,000
a week,
every week.
Dang, I'm gonna have to get in that joint.
That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot.
The one I'm familiar with where I'm in right now. It's huge, but it's rotating by, I think twice. You get like once or twice a year, but it's a huge sum when your time comes. And you can also, you know what I'm saying, like some people, it's like, I'm getting married next, you know, February. I don't need the money now, you know what I'm saying? So let's switch, because when they start, let's say they start January 1st, it's mapped out who's picking to the December, you know what I mean, or November, whenever it ends.
Absolutely.
And so you can say, hey, you pick in November. I got this big project in March. You know, you mind switching, and so there's that. People can switch like that, and I'm sure it's in the app too, kind of thing. Yeah. Tell me about some cool stories, man. What you've heard people being able to do with, like, you know what I mean. I know that it's not a traditional banking thing where you put money in the bank, it's yielding interest or investing in the stock market or forex or whatever people do. But just some stories that people have been able to do just by doing Susu.
So one particular one is, personally, by joining several Susu groups, I was able to save something for my down payment on my current house right now. Because it's just tough to save. Unless Susu keeps you like on a disciplined track. You know that this money is going to come out. I have to pay this money, so I'm not going to spend it. Versus put it in a traditional bank where you can easily just go and swipe your card because you don't have any agenda. It gives you this agenda, like I need to save this money no matter what. Right? So I did that, and I was able to put a down payment of $10,000 on my house. I know people who have come together also as Susu and bought a McDonald's franchise, right, together as an African group. I know people like my current group. We're planning on using this Susu the next time we do it to actually start doing real estate investment. So if you join, the concept is your contribution will not be given back to you, but we're all putting it together to be able to put a down payment on a real estate, maybe a multifamily property or something like that. So these are some of the things.
That's gonna flip now. You know what I'm saying? Like the people always say, "Oh, no interest." That's gonna flip now to a generational, multi-yearly kind of thing.
Exactly.
As opposed to just saying, "Hey, let me get $2,000 right now." It's like I don't got.
Yeah. Imagine if we say if the total is like $100,000, we put it down on the house. $100,000, we bought it. Right, it's a multifamily, but we start renting it, right? That money is coming in, right? We do the next Susu again, buy another property. We'll get to a point where everybody can actually end up owning property.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the concept behind this. It's a lot more bigger than just Susu. We have other plans and other things.
Talk to me about those. We were talking about it earlier before we got on, as far as the app is concerned, integrating other things into it as well. Talk to me about it.
So one thing that we're thinking about is this community building thing, right? Where, as Africans, we all live in the same community. If we decide, okay, we want to bring McDonald's, or we want to bring Walmart, or we want to bring any of this Starbucks franchise into our community, we can just come together and basically save money, right? Where there's a much more purpose driven plan to it. Like, we all want to buy this franchise. Everybody has to pay $100 a week, right? At the end of the day, everybody have 100% shares in the business, and then we'll be able to distribute among ourselves in terms of profit sharing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where we actually more gearing towards, like that community saving aspect of Susu, where we use it to purchase items that in the future will be able to bring us benefit.
Yeah, man. I want to ask a key question here, because shout out to Anthony O'Neill. I look up to him. He's dope as far as like financial thing. He posted, "No, Susu will not make you wealthy." And that's true. It will not make you wealthy. You're just saving, no interest, and it's an emphasis on that accountability aspect. But you mentioned something earlier. Somebody ran away with the money. Where in the as far as the app, or just right now speaking, can it be more of a thing where there's that accountability in whoever's keeping it? I mean, I think it's much easier when it's an app, the alerts and everything. But somebody something wrong with that joint.
Yeah, it's a simple concept. What we are trying to do is create it such that the money will be kept within the app, right? The app having its own Zelle account in a way, like for every administration. So you, the admin, cannot pay yourself, right? Until it's your turn. You may be part of the Susu, but you cannot hit pay me button until it's actually your turn to get the money, right? And each person you pay will have to be, we have it such that you see the list of people who have already been paid, the ones who are actually upcoming. So unless that person it's that person's turn, you, the admin, cannot pay them, right? There's such securities in there. Another thing we have that I think makes it more secure is we have this idea of actually capturing people's ID, right? If you get a close niche people. Everybody got to take a picture of their ID, embedded within the app, so that way, I know who I'm dealing with. I know, that's why we say close niche community. I know who I'm dealing with, and that I know who they are, where they live, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because even with like straight cash right now, like the one I'm doing, like everybody knows everybody. It's a community where you can't run. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna find you. Kind of thing. And so when it comes to I'm blanking out on my question. Yeah, because this thing is dope. Man. When it comes to, I want to talk about you as an app developer. What's in it for you? Like there's somebody right now watching who's like, yo, a Ghanaian guy just developed an app. I wanted to do that. I'm saying, for the longest, I don't know where to start. You know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna make money? I'm talking outside of Susu, just as an app developer. You know what I'm saying? Or how does somebody go about creating an app?
So go about creating an app is simple. So you have your idea, right? App is just an idea. What you do is you
go ahead.
You basically itemize your idea in terms of how you see the flow of things to be, right? So when a user log in, what do you expect them to see? They should do this, right? When they do this, what do you expect to see? So map that out, right? After you map that out, the next phase is getting somebody. We call these guys UI UX designers, and their main purpose is to take your idea and basically create like a prototype of how you want it to look like, right? And it's not going to cost you that much. I mean, you can get a prototype done on a website called Fiverr, really, really cheap. You can find somebody to do that prototype for you. It's like maybe $50, right? If you want a really, really dope, maybe $100 max, right? So then you get to see that flow of what your app should look like. When you click a button, this should show up, but it's not functional, but then it gives you an idea, right? And you also have how the interface you. So first of all, think of the colors you want the app to look like, all that kind of stuff. So they'll add it into that design. Once you have that design in front of you, the next thing is basically, giving it to developer and say, hey, I want this to look exactly like this. I want it to work exactly like this. And consistently, test and give the developers feedback as far as what they're doing, if it maps to your idea. By the time it's 2-3 months down the line, you're good to go. The app is ready.
How are you personally, going to benefit from this as an app developer?
I think the part of it is I like the Susu concept so much. So one, it was love that actually drove me to this. The second is as far as how our benefits is, we think about advertisement on it in terms of like having other apps advertised within our platform. That's another way of us making money. The third thing, eventually, is 1 year. It's free for now for the entire year, but eventually we'll start charging an amount to install the app within it. We'll enable some features, but then the main features, like a core, like the Zelle, those type of stuff, will help us to monetize it. So you can either have a free version where you just have some minimized features, or go upscale and have everything that we offer for maybe a little bit of a price. So
how do you intend to market it right now? You know what I mean? Like, it's easy, to just say, hey, look, boom, Susu on the app, automated, easy. How do you intend to market it to our people? And as Susu is blowing up right now to other people who might want to, take advantage of this idea.
Sure. So platforms like this, right, is where, and thank you for that. I think people will actually see what the product we're building. They'll be able to actually, go and install it and play with it and whatnot. Secondly, we're thinking about, hitting up some major African churches or places like that, either virtually, connecting with the pastor and say, hey, we have this great idea. We want you to share with, folks like that. African communities within DC, we plan on hitting up different events and maybe showcase that as well. But then we'll use social media platforms also, like Facebook and Instagram as well to showcase that idea as well.
And even personal testimonies, man.
Absolutely.
Like you mentioned, saying like your house and things like that. Right now, you want to get married, don't take no loan.
Nope.
For a ring or a house or that big old wedding, and then you go home and you got a couch. There is ways that our people out here have been doing it, and it's been working. AK, you got a call on the line. AK, you got a question?
Yes, so.
Get on the mic, bro.
Hey, listen, man. Earlier you mentioned about your job, right? Like you're a tester, right?
Yeah.
This is something that in our African community, and this is what Stuck in is all about, really, you know what I mean? Learning those things that you would normally not know. You know what I mean? Learning from your brother or your sister. So my question to you is, how did you get? What is a tester? Again, let's go back to that conversation, right?
Sure.
What is a tester? How did you get into it, and how can our brothers and sisters, you know what I mean, like learn from this, benefit from this? What's the money like? Because I know when you talk money, you know what I mean, people's heads, I mean, our eyes like lit up. So you know what I mean, what's the money like? Yo, talk about all of that stuff.
Sure. Like I said, I started off with $500, registered for a testing class, and I'm here now. But the concept is you're testing software. So all you're doing is basically, let's say the Sou Sou app, right? For example, the concept is to first of all log in into the app and then create a new Sou Sou group, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to divide those type of features into several features within the app and make sure that they collectively, what we call the integration, that they collectively work. So the login, username, password, all that stuff works correctly. Then you go to the other phase of it, like for example, the creating of the group is successful, right? Can you successfully create a group? Can you successfully create multiple groups? So you test it by making sure that all that actual functionality that the app was built for is working as expected. And there are several tools to do that. There are several ways of going about it. To get started, I think you can just easily, there's this website called Udemy. You can buy a testing class. It might even cost you like less, $9 or something like that. Go through it, try to understand what it's about. And then the next phase of it is basically, attempts to test the website. You can just pick any website you see, divide it, just like I said, into different sections, and think of how will you test a username. Somebody said, test this username field. What will you do, right? You basically enter a username, right? Like whatever the length of the username is required. You enter something like a username that is more than the required, and then you leave the username blank. Does it give you an error, right? Those are some of the things you can practically start doing. What else? As far as the career field, I mean, it's really good. It's really lucrative, man. You can start off. I think starting is like maybe $80,000. I won't take anything less than $80,000 as a tester. And then after 3 years or something, 4 years into it, at least I would say 100,000, 120, that type of range. As far as career upwards for tester, you can do some like project management, like I did on my app and several other projects that I'm managing right now. I'm a tester, but I'm a lot more. I understand some of the development part of it, so I can, be a project manager. I can also, either become a test manager, or I can, become an automation tester. That sort of. So it's open. You can be a Scrum Master because you understand development. So it opens up a lot of opportunities for you.
Yeah,
and the pay is good.
Yeah, man, the pay is good. That's what I was waiting for. Are you married?
Yes.
How many kids you got?
No, but I'm expecting.
Hey, congrats, man.
Not yet. Yeah.
Hey, small junior is coming.
Yeah. It's amazing, man.
That's dope, man. Now listen, this has been really good. I'm glad we finally got to connect. It's still Corona season, y'all, but we back in the studio. We just have Paul in the building. What's your last name again for the people?
Wood.
Paul Wood. What you get? See, Nigerians, I don't know why people keep doing this English name. Brown.
It's a Ghanaian thing. It's just, I'm from the coast where, a lot more of the slave activity happened.
Yeah.
So as a result, we picked up a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's dope. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into, the conversation I'll be having about my name, but, my name is much more,
That's good.
Yeah, man. But it's all good. This has been dope, man. Esorr is the name of the app. Shout out to Paul and all his team and what they're doing. Do your research, man. Don't get into it if nobody's, pressuring you or anything. Do your research, like in life with everything. We do it as Africans, as Caribbeans. It's becoming mainstream right now when it comes to Jangi or Susu. If somebody says, let me flip $100 to $800 from you, think twice. Probably a pyramid scheme. There is some benefit to that, but just put in get out what you're gonna put in and do your research. Check out the app. Hit up Paul. How can people reach you if they want to learn more and all that good stuff?
So I'm on Facebook. You can just type Kenlito. If you type my last name Wood, maybe you'll be able to find me as well. I'm only on Facebook right now, but I'm not really a social media down guy, but it's like because of this, I need to start getting into it. But Facebook is the right way to reach me.
Yeah.
Or my email is wood.paul@gmail.com. Yeah.
There it is. Hey, shout out to AK back in town, back in the studio. Shout out to everybody. It's the Stuck Middle Podcast. Again, it's a platform for entrepreneurs, innovators, creators like Paul, where we discuss ideas, experiences, and advice on how we can break the mold, how we can break the barrier, and move the culture forward. If you enjoy what you heard, enjoy what you watch on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the ringer so you get updates every time we're dropping new content. And also like this video so YouTube can drive the algorithm up and share this thing across the world. You heard me? It's Africa to the world. If you're riding around in the living room, you do whatever you're listening to us on the Apple Podcast, Stricter, Spotify, all that good stuff. Do a screenshot, put it on your story, let people know what we're doing here. We appreciate the love. Go on our website, srtmpodcast.com. If you want to write for us, we encourage people to write for us. We got a dope blog section. AK has been curating. Shop Stuck in Middle Podcast merch. All that good stuff. I'm Reflex, your host. Appreciate you coming through, bro.
No problem, man.
Hey, we out.